welcome here to TalkFCB, and for the first time in 6 years, welcome to the Champions League semi-final stage. And doesn't it sound incredible to be saying that right here? And coming up, we have the full match preview for Barca versus Inter on Wednesday night. And yes, the preview's coming nice and early because I cannot wait. This is an absolutely huge game in Barca's season. The treble is still very much on. And today we're going to be talking all about the two teams, about the potential lineups that we could see, and all of the latest news. Get yourselves ready. Get yourselves excited. Come on. Let's do this. But first of all, guys, I have an important question for you. Because would you like to look as good as Inigo Martinez? Because today's video is coming to you courtesy of Manscaped. And whilst I certainly can't promise that you'll be able to play the offside trap as well as Inigo, I can't promise there that you will be an outstanding defender, but Manscaped can promise you that you will at least look the part. Because right here, with Manscaped's cutting-edge, fantastic technology, you can have the smoothest, cleanest shave imaginable. You can look as good as Inigo. I mean, that's outstanding. I'd absolutely love that. And if you would like to go ahead and check out the men's grooming products available over on Manscaped, there's so much to choose from, so much good quality. You can get 20% off your order simply by using the code TalkFCB at checkout. And not only will you be getting some outstanding products, you will also be helping the channel in the process there. So thank you very, very much, guys, for all of your great support. But if we move on here to the very important job in hand, this is the Champions League, this is the Final Four, and these are the highest stakes imaginable. I cannot wait for this game here. I want to jump into it. I want to get involved in it. But at the same time, I'm quite grateful here that we've got a little bit of a gap. Because I've got to say, it's not easy to follow up what happened on the weekend. We have been on such a high after El Clasico, winning the Copa del Rey in the way that we did. It's not easy here for the players to move swiftly on and refocus. But we have to get down to earth now. The job is not done. There's still so much hard work that we need to bring to this season because we've now got one title in the bag. The Copa del Rey, it's done. We already secured the Super Cup earlier on this season. All we need to do now is wrap up the other two. Can we do it? In my opinion, yes we can. However, guys, as we move here into this game, I would like to give you a word of caution, because as incredible as Saturday's win over Real Madrid was, and it was brilliant, it was an amazing, amazing night there is absolutely no question that it took a lot out of the players. There is no question here that we will have been in some way physically or mentally affected by that game, because obviously it wasn't just your average match. There was so many added emotions, so many added demands. It was a cup final, it was a high intensity game, there was extra time to play, and also given the fact that we had to dig deep, we had to make a comeback, and all of that against your biggest rivals in the most intense matchup on the planet. It takes a lot. The players have to give everything to win that game. And don't just take my word for it either, because I would look at some of the quotes that we were hearing after the game. Ferran Torres, for example, what a shift he put in on the night. They're scoring that equalising goal. But he said after, let me just tell you something, I am destroyed right now. That was the way that he worded it there. I am destroyed. I'm so tired. We had to really suffer to get this win. And then Pau Cubarsí said, my legs are heavy right now. I really am feeling it in my legs. But he said, this badge, it pulls harder. You have to fight until the end. I am so, so happy. And then Pedri, of course, scorer of that wonderful first goal, he said by the end, I could barely move. I had muscle cramps, but my happiness at having won a title with my dream team, I dedicate this victory to my family. It made me forget all about the fatigue. So quite clearly, the players had to give a lot. They were able to come through it. They were able to overcome all of those obstacles, but there will be a bit of a knock-on effect. But what I have to say here is, we won though, and that is huge, because every single player, no matter what they said after the game, they all said it with a huge smile on their face, and that makes a big difference. That winning feeling, the feeling of doing it in the way that we did, it'll keep you going. You can ride that wave. You can keep the adrenaline inside you. And I think we've got to keep this wave of confidence going here. We've got to start the game well on Wednesday, get the crowd involved. You can imagine they're the Barca fans. They are going to be bouncing. They are going to be riding this wave as well with the players. And the fans there, they may need to carry these players through the game. They are running on empty right now. They have really had to work hard, but we can do anything. That's the way we feel right now. We can achieve anything we want. Because of course, guys, the other very, very important thing to bear in mind ahead of this game is what's going on at Inter. Because yeah, Inter did play actually one day later here than Barca did, but it wasn't the same kind of game. There wasn't the same kind of occasion, wasn't played at the same kind of pace, and that was pretty much because, yet again, Inter were unable to play with any intensity, and they lost again. Inter now have lost 3 games in a row, and this particular loss here to Roma, that was incredibly damaging for them. It's got serious consequences in terms of the title race, because Inter now are behind Napoli. They have squandered their lead. They're 3 points back with only 2 games left to play. And don't forget, guys, until a few days ago, Inter hadn't even lost 2 games back-to-back this season. They also hadn't gone 2 games without scoring a goal. And now suddenly ahead of this game, they haven't scored in 3. They haven't even looked like scoring. They look like a team right now that are on the floor confidence-wise, and they've lost 3 games in a row. And for them, their season is falling apart. There's no other way to describe it. A week ago for them, the treble was on. They were in the cup semi-final. They got absolutely hammered by AC Milan, their rivals in that game. They are now behind Napoli in the league, and the Champions League, it's now their biggest hope. And that makes them desperate here. That makes them absolutely desperate to get something in these 2 legs. And what that means is that we're not sure what to expect here. Because on the one hand, Inter are low. They are lacking confidence. They are suffering as well very, very badly with fatigue. And what Barca could do here in this first leg, especially with Inter being away, we could deal the final blow. We could really knock them flat with a good performance. It would knock all the stuffing out of them, or Inter could rise up. Inter against all of the odds here, with the one competition they really have left in their sights, they could give these games against Barca absolutely everything that they have. And I don't think here we can write Inter off. That would be an incredibly foolish and naive thing to do. Because just look at Real Madrid. Look what they were able to do in the second half at the weekend. Because Real Madrid all season long, they've been poor. They put in some absolutely atrocious performances over the past few months. And yet in that second half against Barca, they found something. They really did summon up one of their best displays this season. And that's what we have to be wary of here. Inter are wounded. They are down. But by no means can we count them out? Because as we do move on here to talk about the shapes that we could see, about the way the 2 teams are going to set up in this game, I think the most important thing to bear in mind on Inter's side is the potential availability of Marcus Thuram. That could be where the game is won or lost on their side. Now, he has missed their last 3 games. All of those defeats they've suffered, they have been missing him. And it's no coincidence at all that they've struggled without him there. He has been Lautaro's partner this season, and he's been outstanding. He is a real presence in that forward line. He's a big, physical, powerful, pacey forward. And I also have to say, that's exactly the kind of player that at times this season, Barca have struggled against there. Those number 9s that can cause you problems in so many different ways. And Marcus Thuram, he's been desperately trying to find a way to be ready for this game. He's been training individually over the past few days. It remains to be seen whether he will make it, but that will be massive for Inter if they do manage to get him back in time. Because what we are going to see from them, we know here, it's the 3 at the back system. They've got their 3 centre-backs there. They really do use those wing-backs going forward. They're pushing them on, but also happy as well to absorb a lot of pressure when they do. And this, like I've said before, is a very similar kind of team to Atletico Madrid here, but a more advanced version. Inter can do so much there, but they are an elite defensive team. Bastoni there will lead that back line. He's vital as well in the distribution. And I think what you've got to be really wary of is Barella in midfield there. If you give him time on the ball, if you give him space there to start dictating the game, he can get on top of you in midfield, and we've got to get nice and tight to him. We've got to make sure that pressing game is on point here, because you do not want there to be space and time opening up for the likes of Lautaro Martinez and Marcus Thuram if he is available. And Barca here need to be looking to get in between the spaces there. And I'm talking about the gaps between the wing-backs and the centre-backs there. We need runners in this team. We need players there to get in and around in this defence to ultimately shift them out of that organisation, shift them out of the zones that they want to be in. And that is why you feel like players like Dani Olmo, like Rafinha, like Yamal there, Ferran as well, with all of that movement, all of that pace as well, just shifting around nice and fluid. They get interchange. You've got to be unpredictable against this Inter team, because they are so solid defensively. But what then of that Barca potential lineup? Because the one massive game time decision that we are going to see from Hansi Flick all revolves around the fitness and the availability of Alejandro Balde. I think we're all waiting around thinking, is he going to be back? Is he going to get that medical green light? He has been working so hard, wasn't risked at the weekend against Real Madrid, and the reason was we were trying to get him back and get him ready for this game. And just in fairness, I didn't think that Gerard Martin in the Copa del Rey final, he wasn't a disaster. He wasn't absolutely terrible there at left back. Obviously, every single player had to do their bit. They had to all work hard as a collective to get that win. But I just thought mainly it wasn't even about defensively. It was about going forward there, because there were so many occasions there in the game where the space opened up for Gerard Martin there, where he had space to move into. He could have really hurt Real Madrid on their right-hand side. But we didn't make the most of that there. And you just feel as though in this game against Inter, those wing-backs are so key. It's going to be such an important battle in those wider areas. We need Balde. If there's any chance at all of him being available, if you can get him back in this team, his pace, his directness there, the way that he can run at teams as well, both ways, we need that in this game. We need him to be there. And I think if he is, we will be so much more confident. Because if he is there, you would actually expect Hansi Flick to do something very similar to what he did against Real Madrid there. You've got that very solid backline, Kounde, Pau, Inigo, Balde. You've got the midfield, like I've said before, that midfield with Frenkie and Pedri. They can dominate absolutely anybody. And then that front four, like I say, they have to be on their game. They have to be at the very highest level and clinical in front of goal. But I would also throw out, guys, a few other names as well. Raul Araujo, he will want to be involved in this game. And even if it's not in the starting lineup, we saw him come off the bench in the Clásico and he added something. At that point in the game, we were trying to really get amongst it with Real Madrid, trying to really force them into some mistakes and put pressure on. And Araujo, he knows his role. He knows what he can give the team, and especially in big moments. I'd look at Fermin Lopez. He came on, of course, for Dani Olmo, who again may not be able to play the full 90 minutes. Fermin can for sure add something. And Gavi, didn't he play well? He came on against Real Madrid then, had an absolutely outstanding impact. So there's many players in this Barca team who can contribute, even if they're not in the starting lineup, even if they're not there from the get-go. We will need everybody, because this squad, it will be a bit tired. There will be players out there who are physically struggling and really battling their way through the game. But we need one big performance. We need one big display to kick off this semi-final in the way that we dream of. So that there, guys, is exactly what we can expect on Wednesday, under the lights, in the semi-final of the Champions League. I cannot wait for this game. And how are you feeling right now? The blood is pumping through my veins. The heart is pumping as well. It's an exciting time for us Barca fans. We are on the cusp of something beautiful, of something absolutely historic. We can almost reach out and touch it, but there is still big work to do. So please do let me know in the comments down below, what would your starting lineup be? Do you believe that Balde will be back in time? And there will be more build-up to come. There will be lots more happening before the big game, guys. I will see all of you for that, and please do not forget to check out Manscaped there and see what they have to offer. I appreciate all of the support. Let's keep this going. But until next time, as always, Vesca, Real Barca.